Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. If you guys are having a blessed day so far, to kick off today's show, I've got a very special guest joining me today. He's a member of the Miami Heat. He had an incredible college basketball career where he started off with San Diego State, went all the way up to play with Arizona, then by his final season, and now is heading into his second year in the NBA with the Miami Heat. That's Keshad Johnson. Keshad, appreciate you taking time to come on today, man.
Man, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So first things first, we're going to get into your story. We're going to get into your life. And one of the crazy things now is that you already had your contract guaranteed. You're going to be in the NBA year or two upcoming now. Just take us through just knowing your story, knowing everything you've gone through to get to this point, what it means to you.
It means everything. Starting from where I started from, wasn't really nationally ranked in high school and everything.
Hmm.
Just being a NorCal representatives, we always got overlooked.
Right.
And I had to take the 5-year plan through college, went the undrafted route, and I got my shot and took advantage of every opportunity that I got. And we're here now.
So obviously we're going to go through, like I said, your whole story momentarily, but you go through an undrafted process, you sign the two-way contract, you get promoted now mid-season, and then obviously you get a contract guaranteed now. When you just talk about, already just what's happened in your NBA career so far, when you got the call and you found out, okay, your contract's guaranteed, you're gonna be on a standard contract once again, what went through your mind?
It's just being grateful. Being
Mm,
grateful. That's the thing that went through my mind, and also knowing the fact that I they trusted me to sign me guaranteed and go in and take advantage of every opportunity I'm given and show that I'm here to stay.
absolutely. So I was curious, when you look throughout your life, did you always have the expectation and the goal and obviously even the belief that you were going to be at this position today, or when did it start to settle in for yourself?
Absolutely. Ever since I picked up the basketball, I always wanted to be an NBA player. I looked up to NBA players. Going into like sophomore year when I started getting my athleticism in high school, now I'm like, all right, now I gotta go with the big dogs. Now
Mhm.
it's like the time ticking. I'm amongst the most athletic guys. I start getting the height, I'm getting the frame and everything. So it started looking like I can be a part of the NBA. So just took that head on. That gave me more confidence with God blessing me with the natural limbs to be able to compete with the best of the best. I'm here.
All right, so you grew up in Oakland, but I want to ask in terms of basketball though, when did that come into your life? Was that something that was always the go-to sport for yourself? Did it kind of settle down? You're going between a couple different
Mhm.
sports, or what brought you into basketball?
I always played basketball and football growing up. Basketball was always A, and I started that when I was about in third grade,
Mhm.
playing just locally with my friends and stuff like that. I finally got on a circuit for the first time during 15U,
Okay.
and I was on the EYBL, and that's when I had like my wake up call, just going against other players that's better than me and all of that. So once I knew I could compete with those guys, and I got out of the shell of just being the best in Oakland and NorCal, then I knew I was amongst the greatest.
When we talk about your high school career, obviously you accomplished a lot of great things, but as you said, the overall rankings, the offers, all those things didn't necessarily go and back you up at that point in time. And a lot of guys are in that
Mhm.
position. We've heard the story before, but yet there's still going to be so many more guys. And I have to imagine at that point in time, it was a little bit tough. You weren't getting the recognition you probably wanted and deserved. When you were going back and you look back at yourself at that point in time, where were you from a confidence and mental standpoint?
From a confidence and mental standpoint, I'm sure every basketball player like feel this. So around that time, I'm doing good AAU. I'm just wondering, like, because where I was in Oakland, but I used to take Amtrak train to go to my team, which was located in Sac, and then we would go to LA with the rest of the guys. And I was doing that for about 2 years. So I'm doing all this labor to just to get to Sac, to get to the next, to get to our AU team. And I'm like, it's a school night. I don't got no offers. How long can I keep this up without without anything falling through, without me getting no offers? So of course you go through that moment like, man, I just need an offer to know that what I'm doing is paying off. So I went through a long time of not getting no looks, and then junior year come around, then after one circuit, one weekend, I went from 0 offers to about 20
Mhm.
in just a couple days, and they was just calling, 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 and everything just like, okay, finally my work paying off. I got an offer. Now I'm gonna be able to go to school, guaranteed for sure. My mom, my dad don't gotta come out of pocket for nothing. So
Mm.
that's always just a relief of, man, my all my work is paying off. So
What kept you so bought in? Because like you said, it's a story of life. So many people could be moments away from that big moment where everything breaks through, and no matter what field of life you're going in. For yourself, like you said, you're contemplating what's going on, when this opportunity going to come from me, myself. What kept you so dialed in? What kept you still pursuing basketball, even when the doubts started to creep in?
it's a couple of things. For one, I would say my family. My
Mm,
family. I didn't come from a rich background where we had everything. I'm the youngest of all my siblings, so I look at it as like the last hope. It
mm,
wasn't really no plan B. It's like I gotta take basketball all the way. I gotta
okay.
be that one. I gotta be that golden child to do what it do. And also my faith. My faith. I'm big on my Christianity faith. And that keep me sane. That keep give me the utmost peace, the utmost perseverance and relentlessness.
I love that aspect. I want to dive into that a little bit deeper. As a fellow brother in Christ, I want to kind of dive into that for yourself. When you were going through your life in that regard, when did your faith really start to grow? 'Cause I know I've seen you too on social media. I can tell it's always growing. That's always our goal in life, to grow and closer to Jesus. But when would you say you really committed your life fully to Him?
I really committed my life fully to him my sophomore year in college. I had a
Mm,
teammate by the name of Agueka Rope, and he hosted Bible studies. And I always knew who God was and Jesus was, but I never really explored the my faith myself by myself. And from there, I just seen how the Lord was working in his life and how he was getting over injuries and coming back and always
mm,
came in with a big smile on his face. That motivated me to open up the Bible and explore Jesus for myself. So once I did that, all my prayers started being answered. Any question I had, the answer was right in the book, and I just gained a sense of peace in everyday living through everything I've seen. I gained a good like feel of other people, of what other people's going through, how to treat people right, how to make the right decisions, good discernment,
mm.
um, uh, going to the right places I need to go, making the right decisions overall.
As you went through this life, that peace aspect is so critical. That's something that you just understand, only something that Jesus can give you. When you talk about the Spirit of God coming upon you, you experience that peace. And as you said, you're still up and downs life. You're still going to go through certain things, but you have that foundation. You have that peace you now expand upon. When you look at your life now, since you really started to allow Jesus into your life to really change you from the inside out, where's the biggest moment you've seen Him show up and help guide you throughout this life?
The biggest moment, the biggest part, I would just say the love I have in my heart
Mm,
when I talk to anybody. I feel like I can relate to anybody. I don't judge anybody. Like I can see somebody that's less fortunate and have a full conversation with them as if they're me and actually learn from it instead of
mm.
looking over it as if I'm better than them. So I feel like just me being grounded, me being humble, um, me knowing that everybody falls short of the glory, but Jesus died for our sins, that makes me feel like I'm better than nobody. And I have grace, mercy, and I have to be able to give love to everybody, any and everybody.
You look at the NBA scene, obviously there's so many temptations. It's very easy to fall into that. How do you still stay so strong? You've now gone through 1 year, and obviously it's always a work in progress. You're always learning, trying to become more and more like him. How do you stay grounded in your faith and still pursue him, try to live a righteous lifestyle when you have so many temptations going on around you?
Temptation gonna always be there, no matter what it is. Everybody face temptation every day.
Hmm.
Nobody can say that they don't, and we all fall short of it as well. Nobody continue to win that battle. We always have our losses, but we got to bounce back. We got to know that the Lord Jesus is faithful and He's just and He's he forget and he forgive us for everything. So once we have this all this wealth, like this stardom, we are seen as somebody that's higher than a regular person and to other people's eyes that's not professional athletes.
Mhm.
And that comes with a lot of distractions, but you just got to know how to stay on track, what got you there, stay humble, never change. Don't let materialistic things change you.
Mm.
Stay heavy on your morals. Stay heavy on your morals and everything that you believe in. And you just got to keep putting the right foot in front of that left foot and
Mhm.
make as minimal mistakes as you can. Everybody's saying each and every day, but we just got to keep getting better so we can do at least we can repent and change.
So many people that might be tuning in, there might be some believers, there might be some non-believers. You've experienced what life is like when you truly give your life to Jesus. So I have to ask you this, from your perspective, why should people put their faith and trust in Jesus and let him take over their lives?
Because he's the truth. He's the truth. There's no other like him. He's the only one
Mm.
that will forgive you. He's the only one that shows you the truth of love, peace, happiness in any way, shape, or form. Um, it's all I can say is he the truth. He the truth. There's no truth like it.
Amen, man. Well, you had another point when you talked about what kept you locked in during that time span. That is representing your family. Obviously, you've done a remarkable job of that now. I know you're the very first person from your family to graduate. You accomplished that. Congratulations on that as well. And then you talk about
Thank
becoming
you.
an NBA player. You talk about accomplishing these great things, living out not just your dream, but representing your family's last name as well. When you talk about making it to this point now, living out these dreams that you've accomplished that kept you grounded going all the way back to high school, what does that mean to you?
It means everything. I seen a post on social media. It said, I am who I always wanted to be. Like
Mm,
I am now who I always wanted to be, and I hold that dearly to my heart. Like I always wanted to be a professional athlete. I always wanted to be somebody that had wealth. And if the ball stopped bouncing now, I would be grateful that the Lord helped all my hard work turn out to this already.
mm,
Um, so I hold that dearly. It's been a lot of obstacles that I overcame throughout my life with help of basketball and just me having a platform to, I would say, be more credible, be more knowledgeable to somebody that probably look up to me. Not
mm.
all kids can listen to everybody, but me being who I am will allow them to want to open up an ear for me. So I'm just grateful for that and all the other benefits that just come from all the hard work and all the everything that I've been blessed with.
I want to go into family a little bit, and I know there's a story I really want to dive into, and that's regarding your brother. He has an incredible story where he's got to get to this point in time. I know you like representing him with your jersey, you're at least the best you can with the numbers. Obviously, that's been difficult in the NBA, but still, throughout college, through all the different aspects. I just want to top of that story. Elaborate a little bit on that, just how that moment with your brother ultimately helped shape you into the man you are. Just seeing not just the actual incident, but ultimately what happened throughout his progression, being where he's at today.
Mhm. It was an unfortunate event of him being a victim of gun violence, being shot 10 times and all over his body. But for him to pull through, that's another reason why I know the Lord is real and he working in anybody and everybody. Um, but for him he was only 14 when it happened. So for a 14-year-old to overcome that, you just look at that, you gotta get motivated. And
Mm,
for his dream, he wants to be a basketball NBA player as well. For his dream to get stripped from him, just unfortunate case of event, me being a younger brother and somebody that's seeing that puts a fuel to my fire and be like, I gotta do it for you. You're
mm,
living your life through me. So that's what I really embody between me and his relationship and what he went through in his life. And each and every day I see him wake up and live his life like the event is over. Like it made him into a better person. He's strong. He smile every day. We laugh. We goof around. Um, and he's striving. Right now, he's back in the college. He plays in the NWBA, National Wheelchair Basketball Association, for the Golden State Royal Warriors. So to see him still going with the love of the game, I have no option to quit. I have no option to give up. If he's still going and I do it for him, I gotta keep pushing him and I gotta do it for him.
You just elaborate on that whole story. Then it's an incredible, remarkable story. And when you see somebody like you said that does not give up, no matter what's happened, he's continued to persevere. He's gone through a tragic situation, and somehow he's found a way to still find the blessing in a certain sense, find the miracle of being able to be a motivational story to other people. As you've seen that aspect, how much does that motivate you to kind of be able to push through the obstacles that's come your way?
Man, obstacles gonna come. You don't know when they're gonna come or what direction is coming from. You just got to be able to brace and push through it. You know, you got to push through it. You got to break down the wall and break down the shackles of any obstacles that's coming your way. So for him to do it, and he been through what he been through, like I said, there's no way I can crumble, I can fall and not get back up for that last round and go again.
As for yourself, just growing up in Oakland, the environment overall, how did that help shape you into the man you are today?
It shaped everything. Oakland is always all a part of me. You know, as Damian Lillard, where the old representative for the places that he's played in, including the city of Oakland. I wore the number 0 at San Diego State, and that just come from Oakland. Like Oakland is so beautiful. It's a beautiful city, and that gets overlooked. Of course, there's a lot of other poverty thing that goes on throughout the city, but that also creates your character. You got to look at the beauty through everything. So I just love Oakland. We different. Us people that's from Oakland, we walk with a different type of swag, walk with a different type of limp and different type of confidence. Throughout like to the whole other world, the whole world.
Mhm.
So I I'm glad I'm from Oakland. I'm glad to say that Oakland is a part of me and my bloodline.
All right, so another aspect about you is that you do have the nickname Showtime. As you talked about a little bit ago, it's more so high school and started filling into the body that we know you have today. And Showtime is the proper name for your name. Obviously, you are one of the most high flying guys that I've seen through college, obviously now in the NBA. But I have to ask, when did that nickname come to be?
Nickname can be freshman year. Freshman year. As I said, when I started getting my God given talent, of being able to jump and fly, run, athleticism, all that, and just do things. You know, I always been a guy that really tried things when it came to basketball and growing up. So I just started doing things on a fast break and all that. And also just my overall personality. I think I'm a bright person.
Hmm.
And when I say that, I just feel like I light up the room. I say that humbly. I just light up the room. I like making people smile. I like smiling. I like having fun. So that just I try to carry myself with confidence even when I'm uncomfortable in any situation. And that's overall is a description of Showtime and how Showtime fit me.
Was the progression in terms of your athleticism that kind of a natural progression slowly, but it's kind of developed over time? Did it happen suddenly, or when did you start to realize that you've got that different kind of bounce?
Been working. I was working. I remember 8th grade. I had a coach by the name of John Vincent. He asked me. He said, "What do you want to? What do you want to do?" And this before I was dunking and everything. So I'm like, I just want to dunk. Next day, to however long we was running the hills with harnesses and weight vests and
Hmm.
getting to it. The next summer, I'm dunking, and I just got addicted to being athletic, you know. So I started working out with all the other coaches that I had, just extra work on being athletic. I had a cousin who also he's a swim coach. He's a swim coach, and he's very knowledgeable on aqua athletics. So he had me in the pool working out, just to also work out with recovery. And we was doing that throughout my high school experience, and I just kept shooting up, kept shooting up. That's all I can really say. Just just working and working and working. And of course, the God given talent as well.
Was there ever a moment that you took off for a dunk or did something that shocked yourself and you're like, holy cow, I can actually do that?
Um, the biggest moment, it was in high school. We played against our rivals, Bishop O'Dowd. I ended up getting the ball on the right side, and I just took about two dribbles full court, three dribbles full court, and I took off like almost by the right elbow at a free throw, something along that. It was outside the lane, and I
Mhm.
just flew, and it was like kind of like a blackout moment. I just flew, and from there, I'm like, I was up there. I was up there. Like I didn't. I knew I was bouncy, but that was one of the kickers that was like, I'm one of them ones when it come
Mhm.
to jumping, and I knew it from there.
All right, so let's go into that college recruiting process because, as you said, all of a sudden you get a lot of offers. You end up being a four-star recruit according to ESPN, but you end up coming to San Diego State. But I want to just go through this whole process because you have these offers on the table now. You still probably weren't ranked where you probably should have been, but you have these offers. You go to San Diego State. Walk us through this process. Why did SDSU become the school that you decided to go to?
So I had a top five at the time, but my thing is I wanted to win. I wanted to win. I wanted to learn, and I wanted to go somewhere I possibly had a opportunity to play in like early
Right.
and everything. And San Diego was one of the best mid majors. They top of the list in terms of winning percentage on that West Coast side. And I also didn't really want to leave too far from home.
Okay.
So I visited Fresno State and I visited San Diego State just because those were the ones that really showed the most interest at the time. And San Diego, man, it was something about San Diego that I loved. I love the culture as well. And fortunately, when I picked San Diego State, our team was so good. Like I learned everything, so I didn't get my opportunity. So that was the unfortunate part. But the blessing part of it was I learned so much. We started
Hmm.
off the year 25-0. That's
Yep.
almost unheard of in college basketball, and we ended 30-2. COVID took away our national championship, but it was just a blessing being I feel like I chose the right decision. I could have redshirted, but for me to not redshirt and be a part of that every step on the way, that was cool. And I made the right decision. San Diego State, they molded me into becoming a young man. I built an identity of being rough and a fighter at San Diego State. Um, and that just come from competing every day. The molded me into who I am, who I carry myself today.
I want to ask for that culture there because San Diego State, what Brian Dutch has done there is absolutely phenomenal. And obviously, it was even a couple of years leading up to when you got out there, but the whole run when you were out there, and obviously up until today, has been phenomenal. As you talk about that very first year, insane season overall for you guys. Malachi Flynn and Matt Mitch, all those guys, Jordan Shackle, yourself. When you talk about what he's built up there, just what is he like as a coach day in, day out? How has he built such a phenomenal program there?
So Dutch been doing this for a long time. So I
Right.
feel like I heard stories about him back in the Fab Five days when he was a little crazier. But he chilled out a lot throughout my 4 years of being there. Come in, chill guy. He'll go in his spurts of really dialing in on what he want and everything like that. But for the most part, he's very observant. When he talk, it's something that's knowledgeable and that he sees in the game.
Mm.
So he was laid back for the most part and just a people's person, people's person overall. He taking pictures throughout the airport with everybody. Good dude, good dude. And you know, what he demands, he gets from all his players. What he demands, he gets from all his players. And that's powerful. That's powerful for everybody just wanting to fight and work for somebody.
What is your favorite memory when you look back at everything you do with Coach Dutcher? What's your favorite memory?
My favorite memory is countless, countless. It gotta just be the whole Final Four run, making
Mhm.
it there. Nobody believed that we should have been there, but us amongst the players, we all brothers, thick as thick as blood still to this day. Um, you know, and we just
Mm.
fought for each other, we proved all the doubters wrong. Everybody looking at us like how we beat them early in the season and they made it all the way. We just gritty, and that comes
Mhm.
from the system, the love that we have for one another, and the overall Aztec culture that we embody.
All right, you said something else very interesting that I actually want to pick your mind on, and that is you go to your freshman season. Originally, in the recruiting process, you were looking for an opportunity to play a lot. You still had some minutes, you still were a part of a great team, but it wasn't necessarily a starting role or a role where you had a lot of opportunity. However, you stayed at San Diego State all 4 years. You didn't transfer, you didn't redshirt, you stuck through it, and obviously, it made you into a phenomenal player, presented the NBA opportunity later on in your career. When you look at today's culture in college basketball, a lot of guys in the situation would probably be moving on. You chose to stay locked in. Why did you make that choice?
Just it was the whole idea of learning. I feel like each year I was at San Diego State, I kept learning more and more.
Mm.
It wasn't like, oh, I need to leave San Diego State because I'm not learning no more here. It never got to that point until I did everything I needed to do at San Diego State. We made it to the Final Four, and I played my role to the best of my ability.
Mm.
Then that's when I'm like, okay, I got to take the next step. But and we was winning, and we was winning. Like when you're winning, you shouldn't have no problems when you're winning. So for me
Mm.
to be able to win the 4 years, there's no way I could have transferred. I developed a love for San Diego. San Diego is my second home, and I just couldn't leave San Diego. I developed a relationship with my academic advisor there. All of that, it was just family. So for me to graduate there and that being my alma mater, I couldn't ask for nothing else.
Do you feel like there's some obviously I'm a big proponent of guys obviously if there's better opportunity to go out and do it. It's worked out for many great guys. But do you feel
Mhm.
like there's too many guys out there that are willing to leave too quickly that are missing up and passing up on great opportunities because of the current era and just like overall culture in college basketball today?
Mhm. So that's just that bittersweet conversation to really have because a lot of us college athletes where we grew up from less fortunate backgrounds.
Right.
So now with NIL coming into play and other things, we gotta take advantage of the opportunity and we
Definitely.
gotta do what we have to do. You see things on internet about fans or trolls talking about he only did it for the money, but that's actually powerful for you to be able to change your family lives with the opportunity and getting a free education. You got
Hmm.
to do what you got to do, and with that, you just got to make sure you take advantage of your physical opportunity on that court. Because you don't want to just have the wealth without the just peace and sanity on that court and the opportunity to do what you plan A, to do what you really came to college basketball to do, which is play basketball.
When you look back at a situation, you got right into college basketball in the mix of all this change happening now. And even now they've added in, shared revenue starting this year on July 1st. But that part was obviously wasn't part of your career. But you talk about the NIL era. That got going when you were in college. Obviously you had the COVID pandemic. You had the portal open up, all the different aspects. Had you been in college today and you were a freshman in the same situation at San Diego State occurred, would you have looked to explore other opportunities in today's culture?
Um, absolutely, absolutely. With the benefits of everything
Right.
now, college basketball is a lot about branding and branding yourself. As you can see, even the women college players are benefit on their personal brands and everything.
Mhm.
So whatever would just be the best opportunity for me, I would explore that. I wouldn't just stay focused on San Diego State. I would if something a bigger opportunity came, I would do myself a injustice to not go explore that and see what that is about.
Right.
So I absolutely would explore other things just to make sure I'm not passing up on no opportunity that could help myself, put myself in the best position, and also help my family and other people that's around me.
All right, so let's hop in now to the culture we talked about. Overall, through your college basketball career, you wrap it up with a 119-30 record. That's insane. Very few guys accomplish that much winning throughout San Diego State plus final year at Arizona. 30 losses in 5 years is ridiculous, to be honest. But you look back at that. What was ingrained at San Diego State when you talk about that first year? You didn't play a lot, but you're part of a team that started off 25-0. You're part of a team that very likely could have made a championship run, all the different situations. How much did that help instill a winning DNA and culture inside of you?
um, once you win that much, you develop a standard as if we don't lose. We don't know what losing really is. So that's what kind of came into play with San Diego State. It's like we don't lose. Like even when on paper they're counting us out, we don't lose. We defend. We make it happen. We prove everybody wrong. We're a mid major, but to be told, anybody that knows us know we're really a high major in
Mm-hmm.
terms of talent, in terms of grit, in terms of knowing how to win. So just overall getting over that hump, not believing what or who outsiders display you to be or label you as, we knew we was always gonna be the best. And if we wasn't the best, we was gonna find a way to beat the best.
Mm-hmm. This is jumping up to your final year at San Diego State, but I remember over that whole run, I was a big advocate for the Mountain West. I love what they were doing. They had a lot of teams go in there, but there was a stigma. A lot of the big conferences always looked down on the Mountain West, and they didn't have the most success in the tournament. You guys finally broke through that. You guys finally proved all the doubters wrong when you guys made that great run to the Final Four. When you talk about just what that impact was, because obviously it was great for yourself, but I think it was incredible for the conference as a whole as well. When you talk about
Yeah.
finally breaking that, if you want to call it a curse, you can. What did that mean to you? Just kind of prove so many people wrong.
Nah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong by calling it a curse. Nobody really recognized the Mountain West or give the Mountain West the love that they need.
Hmm.
I'm proud to say that I'm a product of the Mountain West. When me and Isaiah Stevens first came here to Miami Heat, we immediately like locked in as the best of friends and family just because we we both went through the struggle of going through the Mountain West
Right.
and being overlooked and everything. So once we made it all the way, Colorado State is somebody that competed with us every game and was in that game. And for them to see us making it all the way, now they look like, oh, if San Diego State do it and we competing with them whenever we play, then we could do it too. So,
Right.
just building up that overall confidence for the Mountain West. And I don't know what type of bonuses the other coaches get or whatever that case may be too. So all that comes into play too in terms of just respecting the Mountain West overall.
All right, so we go through that year, and I just want to ask about the final season because, as you said, what a remarkable way to end up your career at San Diego State. Obviously, you graduate, all those great things occur, but just take us through that year as you're going through the ups and downs of that season, and then you guys get to the tournament and make that remarkable run. What was that final year like?
Man, that final year was a brotherhood. It was a brotherhood. So me being a senior on our team and my roommates, who was Lamont Butler and Jared Barnett, we pretty much hosted all the team gatherings. We would come over and play cards and lock in from seniors to freshmen to walk-ons, whoever it was. We locked in with each other, So it was just a overall brotherhood. Like I said, we having Bible studies with each other. You just can't make it up,
Mm,
and that building that camaraderie amongst each other makes you develop a mindset of I can't let my brother down. I know what he's going through. He knows what I'm going through. I know what he got going on in his life, and I can't let him down. I gotta help him. He gotta help me. So that's overall led to the success of just us getting rings, winning conference, making it to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, all that. So overall brotherhood we developed like any one of my teammates at San Diego State is invited to my wedding whenever I have my wedding. Like that type love.
I've heard this so many different times, and it's so easy to get carried away when we look at these massive, great rosters that get put together each and every single offseason in college basketball. And on paper, they look phenomenal, but
Yeah.
something special about creating a bond outside of basketball. And obviously, those teams that are great and stacked with names can pan out to be great. But as you just talked about, you guys had a different kind of relationship. You guys had a true brotherhood, a true bond. How critical is that? How critical is it to have the Bible studies, the being able to hang out, being close knit outside of the court, not even talking about on the court? How critical is that to the success of a team on the court?
Man, it's overall probably the biggest thing that's not on paper, that's away from the paper. It's a field thing.
Mhm.
It's overall confidence. Like, say if coach sees something different on the court and it rubbed me the wrong way, I would have a teammate coming to me and be like, "You know what you do? You work on that. You would do this, do that." Just all the right advice, just always picking me up, and I return the favor. It was just throughout the whole 15-man roster or however many players was on the team. So that's overall critical. If I'm messing up, if I'm slacking or they slacking, they messing up, we are able to talk to each other in any tone and not take it personal. You know, so that having that camaraderie right there, that that can most times overcome talent.
Mhm.
Talent always don't really show up each and every day, unless you're a gifted player, and you just tip cap. But for us guys who are overlooked and all of that, we got to come in and let the hard work and prove for the hard work to beat the talent. And that's what we did at San Diego State. Um, our whole roster at San Diego State my senior year was turned out to be more than what anybody else thought we were individually.
The last thing I want to ask about San Diego State before we move on to transfer to Arizona is this. There has been another massive aspect that's changed in college basketball, and that is that they're going to be part of the Pac 12 now next year in 2026. When you look at college realignment, obviously now there's some crazy conferences going on in terms of traveling and all these different situations. What's your thoughts on that overall?
Um, I don't really understand it, to be honest. Understand the San Diego State move. San Diego State, we always deserve to be in the Pac-12. But once
Mm-hmm.
San Diego State get into the Pac-12, a lot of the teams in the Pac-12 are leaving the Pac-12. So I
Yeah.
don't. It's everybody. It's a lot of changing, unnecessary changing. Like Gonzaga needed to be in the Pac-12. Teams like that.
Mm-hmm.
But why it just don't make the most of sense for me for those teams to move up and the team that's moving up moving away.
Right.
The other team, the Pac-12 teams moving to Big 12 and all of that, as Arizona is. So it would have been dope for a team like San Diego State and Arizona to play against each other in the Pac-12. You see,
Yep.
when I was with San Diego State, we competed with Arizona in Maui
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. And those battles need to happen. Maybe I'm biased because I'm an Aztec and I'm a Wildcat, but just that idea play the best. It shouldn't really be too much about. Of course, we got travel to worry about, but it shouldn't be too much about just um. I would say areas and things like that, and talent.
So that's what I was going to actually ask as a follow up then. So would you say if you were the man behind all the scenes, and obviously it's not going to go back to this, but you'd prefer to stay more regional based because you got guys going from Oregon all the way out to New Jersey right now playing games in the Big Ten. You got
Yeah,
obviously the Big 12s all over the country. And obviously, I mean, you had to go obviously out to West Virginia and stuff like that, but still, now you got guys in Florida, you got people in Cincinnati, you got all these different places all over the country. Would you prefer in a perfect world that things were more regional based, truly West Coast, extend it out to Arizona, Utah, whatever you want to call it, and keep it more regional
yeah.
based? Would that be the preferred way?
I would say, yeah, more regional based, along with, I mean, like rankings and things like that. The best teams in the best areas should be in the
Agree.
same conference. San Diego State and UCLA should play against each other in the same conference. We're in the same state and we're the best, and we can travel up to Gonzaga and do things like that. But you also got to take into account school. School is a big thing. We don't want to be traveling coast to coast if we still gotta have 9 a.m. class on a Monday morning or something like that. So you got to take that into account. So yes, I do believe it should be regional based, but also rank based.
All right. Well, let's head into your final year of college basketball then. You decide to go in the portal, you accomplished great things at San Diego State, you move on to Arizona. Take us to that process. I'm sure it had to be a little bit bittersweet in a certain sense of saying, okay, I've been at San Diego State, now I'm going to find my new home. It worked out incredible for yourself. But just take us through the thought process. Why did you first want to decide to go play another year of college basketball, then enter the portal, and then ultimately go to Arizona?
San Diego State, like I said, I hold being an Aztec dearly to my heart, but I graduated. I did
Mm-hmm.
everything I needed to do at San Diego State. And along with that, the way I played, I was an elite role player. I embodied the culture and did everything. And that was very selfless of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I graduated, like I said. So I got blessed with a fifth year from COVID. And at this point, it was just for me to use it to my benefit and be selfless. I mean, see, be selfish
Mm-hmm.
and do what I needed to do. So I needed to showcase more for the next level. At San Diego State, I didn't showcase everything that I knew I was capable of doing. Like, and that just come with the opportunity. I embodied who the player that the coaches needed me to be there, and I just knew I had more in the tank to show in order to make it to this level that I'm at now, being in the NBA. And when I made the decision to go into Arizona, everything played into that. Arizona is a team that's known to being fast paced, known as, and with fast paced basketball, there's no way numbers don't increase with the additional possessions that they have a
Mm-hmm.
game. And I'm just like, I could use that to my benefit, running up and down the court, show out. Through years, Arizona had top players, NBA players, a long lineage of that, of guys that came before me. And I just seen the vision. I seen the vision with Arizona. And I'm like, I could be amongst that history, amongst that lineage, and amongst that culture as well, that Wildcat culture. And I did it. Everything started paying off. I started taking more field goal attempts. I would say, more confidence on being able to showcase things that I work on. And I give credit to my teammates there and also the coaching staff at Arizona, demanded me to do more than what I did at San Diego State and provide me with the opportunity to do so.
When you were going back to that recruiting process, was Arizona the clear, far and away favorite for yourself? Was there other people in the mix? And if so, who was maybe your second option if Arizona was not on the table?
Absolutely not. So I got Arizona, ended up being one first option, but I had a 2A and a 2B, which was Oklahoma with Porter Mosher
Hmm.
and Kentucky with with Calipari. And the conversation I had at Kentucky, man, that was a real big eye opener. And he just feel like we know with him and his history of him having a lot of one and dones and things of that nature. So I needed something that was kind of more set in stone. I didn't want to
Yeah.
go to Kentucky, and of course you got to compete for your spot, but I didn't want to go through the thing where maybe this freshman coming in who's highly ranked or everything, he had more he had more rope than I have, or whatever the case may be. I needed kind of something that was more guaranteed than
Mhm.
what Kentucky had to offer. But the conversations, just learning from coach, it was like eye opening. Like I'm really having dinner with, I would say, Mount Rushmore of coaches, somebody that's on the Mount Rushmore of coaches and everything. And he was just giving game to me, straightforward, honest with everything he said. Told me who I can be, told me who he was going to help me be if I was to go to Kentucky. So I would say was probably Kentucky and Oklahoma. Porter Mosier, he had everything, the whole presentation that I needed to see as well. What came into part in that was probably, I would say, location and other things as well, but I was leaning there just because everything they said, it felt genuine. It felt genuine. The coaching staff, the guys on the coaching staff, under Porter Mosier. felt genuine as well. But I would say it also came down to USC as well, but that just didn't play a part just because I feel like they had other things that they was kind of like prioritizing as well, and I just
Mhm.
wasn't really like I said, I needed something that's kind of more set in stone for this being my end all be all my final year. So
Right.
that kind of played the part of me like not falling through with the USC conversation. But it came down to Arizona, Kentucky, and Oklahoma, and Arizona just got the edge. But I feel like I would have been successful no matter what school I went to.
We were talked earlier about the fact that you didn't have all the offers in the world. You didn't have this high ranking. If we would have went back and talked to that high school, Keshad, and we said, hey, you're and eventually in the future, you're going to have Kentucky, John Calipari. You're going to have Port Moser, Oklahoma. You're going to have Arizona. You're going to have USC. All these schools pursuing you. What do you think that young Keshad would have said?
Who I always prayed to be. I am the person who I always looked up to. Like
Hmm.
I'm physically that. And just for me to witness everything I witnessed in my life, for me to be able to have these conversations that I can choose whatever college I want to go to for free. That's an overall blessing. We all know how much tuition costs and everything. I don't have that. My family didn't have that growing up and everything. So that's a blessing. And for me to go and have dinner with Calipari, and he told me something so cold. He said, he said, Keshad, if you come here, you're gonna see how the Kentucky effect works. And we all know what that Kentucky effect is. Is just everybody that went to Kentucky that's in the league now and did what they needed to do. That was just on a platter. On a platter, it was for mine to take and everything. And I respect Coach for that and everything. So that's just a blessing for me to be able to have dinner with somebody of that status and learn and hear the transparency and the confidence that he speak with and and everything. Just the overall experiences of being able to go to college. That's a blessing.
All right, so you talked about the fact that you were looking for a bigger role, and just for those that are not familiar with your career, you didn't average more than 7.7 points per game throughout your career at San Diego State. Obviously, those numbers get drastically inflated when you go to Arizona, but I have to ask you this: you're in a position, numbers do matter to a certain extent when it comes to NBA dreams. Where were you in a confidence scene? Did you expect when you were entering the transfer portal that in 1 year's time you'd be in the NBA?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I had no choice. Like, if anybody that knew me and knew how I how I work each and every day, know how much I pray each and every day, know who I am, they know that I was gonna make it to the NBA, regardless of the numbers not really reflecting an NBA number at a mid major. They knew I was gonna make it. They see glimpse of me, okay, he could possibly be one of those guys. So them telling me that also helped me, behind the scenes, know that I'm gonna make it. As long as I take advantage of every opportunity, as long as I do what I need to do, I'm gonna make it. So it was a no-brainer going to Arizona, seeing how the love of Tucson and the way the overall college basketball um fan base and politics love Arizona as well. I knew I was gonna be able to use all that to my advantage into becoming an NBA player.
All right, so I have to ask you this question then. You played for an incredible coach in Brian Dutcher. Tommy Lloyd's another great coach. What are the similarities? What are the differences between the two of them?
Mhm. The similarities, the similarities, they totally different, honestly. They don't really have too many similarities. I would say the differences. Brian Dutcher is somebody who's laid back, knowledgeable, um, like speak when he need to speak, only kind of like guy, family guy. But also Brian Dutcher is older, so I'm speaking on behalf of older Brian Dutcher,
Right.
and that's pretty much him. Tommy Lloyd, on the other hand, he's more hands on. He's more hands on. He's gonna physically be out there on the court, showing you this, showing you that. He's more I would say, more energetic in terms of being vocal and being like expressively passionate about everything, you know. And I would just say that plays in the factor of him being a younger coach and everything. And I would say Tommy Lloyd has a way of connecting and taking the extra steps to really build a relationship with his players and know what his players is going through. And Dutcher has a way of being a godfather, like kind of like a godfather. Like you go to Dutch to have a conversation in a sense,
Mhm.
and Tommy will come to you and have the conversation. They're both open to conversating, but that's probably the difference in everything.
All right, so in terms of Tommy Lloyd in the future, he's still young as a coach. He's still up and coming. He still hasn't accomplished. Obviously, Brian Dutch is much more older, as you talked about. What do you think is the future for Tommy Lloyd? What do you think he can accomplish and get done by the time he's at, let's say Brian Dutcher's age?
Yeah, man, Tommy got a natty coming throughout his history. He
Mhm.
got a natty. He studied so hard. He drive himself crazy over this basketball thing, trying to make everybody put everybody in the right position and make sure everybody have ultimate success from the players to the coaching staff that's under him. He just want everybody to grow. So I can see a lot of more success coming to Tommy Lloyd, and he does a great job of his research. He researched a lot. So, he came from Gonzaga to Arizona, and he's more knowledgeable than anybody else about Arizona Wildcat culture and history and everything. And he embodied that. Like any beef we have with Arizona, he embodied that. Like even from way back in the Lou Olson days, he embodied that, and he passed that down to us as players. So the love and the fight and the overall warrior he is, I see a lot of success coming from him by the time he's um overall set in with 20 years in as Brian Dexter have. Brian, he did a lot of winning. He didn't made
Mhm.
it. He didn't got there. So, I see Tommy being one of those guys as well.
All right, the final college basketball question I want to ask you is this. I asked you about San Diego State, but now for your 1 year Arizona, what was your favorite memory that year?
Uh, Woo! Arizona, we had a lot of fun. Off the court, we started off the court on our foreign trip. We went to Israel,
Mm.
and we got a lot of foreign guys on that team and a lot of American guys. So it's half and half.
Mhm.
And throughout that whole trip, Tommy had us really developing a lot of cultural competence on our teammates and each other and what they go through in life, what happened in their past countries. We learned about their history and everything. So that overall trip, we had fun just learning each other. And from there, we kept it pushing on the court. Um, on the court, funnest moment. I had so much fun. Each and every one of my teammates had a moment, had their moment. Everybody
Mm.
had their moment. So I take pride in really celebrating my teammates whenever they had their moment. Personally, we won the conference championship. That was fun. That was a fun moment. Seeing records be broken, seeing um most of my senior guys touch their 1,000 point mark.
Mhm.
All those. Caleb Love having 38, 40 point games. Like I seen a lot. Arizona, seen a lot. We had a lot of fun. That's probably, other than my championship year, that's the second favorite year of
All right.
college in terms of enjoying it. Seeing Arizona. Yeah, I would say I had the most freedom, which played a part into me just enjoying everything in Arizona.
All right. Well, let's head into the NBA draft process then. You're going through it. You're ranked as a guy that obviously could get drafted. You're kind of right on that fringe position right there. And when you're in that position, that means you have a lot of workouts pre-draft. That means the pre-draft process for yourself is wild. Take us through that, because like you said, you have any team could technically draft you. You're in the open for anybody. How crazy and hectic was that process for yourself?
Man, only players know. Only the guys that go through the pre-draft process know how hard that is. That's probably the hardest 2 months of my life in terms of how I work, travel, going from playing, like practicing your hardest for 2 hours or however much it is for that team, trying your A game mentally and physically, going out there and doing what you need to do, trying to take advantage of that slight opportunity that you're getting, knowing that there's other people that's coming in that they got also got to evaluate, knowing that you're doing better than those guys and you are who they want overall training that process.
Once I got him right back in, looks like he got disconnected for a second.
Got you. Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We'll pick up right where we left off. So, as you're saying, Keshad, obviously we're talking about the NBA draft process, how hectic that was for yourself. Just take us through that.
Yeah. Only players really know how taxing and draining that overall process is. And you gotta go through that process for 2 months of your life. You gotta give it your all. Every time you go to an organization and you see the front office in there evaluating you, you gotta be on your A game physically and honestly emotionally for real. You can't get too high or get too low. You got to have a real next play mentality because you only get about an hour and a half to showcase everything or showcase whatever you need to in order for the front office to be like, I want to pick that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, that's very mentally taxing. It has you stressed out. After when you're on the flight to go to the next team, you might be thinking about like, man, I should have did something during that workout,
Mm.
but you gotta go on to the next. So you got 2 months to do what you need to do, and it's taxing physically too. You getting on that plane, you gotta go on that air, come back down, and really just get some rest and wake up and be ready to play. Be ready to play. No matter who you lined up against in a workout, sometimes it's a one-on-one workout, sometimes it's six players. And the person you lined up to next to is a player that's also trying to get that spot.
Mm.
So whatever you gotta do, you gotta be on your A game. It's hard to go to war 30 30 times with 30 30 days, 16 workouts in 30 days. It's hard to
Mm.
do that, but you got to
Mm.
do it. You don't got no choice. Overall combine process, being out there, all the execs is there, all the agencies there, everybody. It's a lot of noise around you, but you got to focus on putting in, putting out all the work that you put in. You know,
All right, so let's go to draft night. When you were approaching that night, were you in a position of mindset where you thought you would get drafted? Did you kind of know more towards the end of the draft that, okay, you can kind of position yourself? I know some agents do this, but obviously try to position yourself to get signed to somebody right after the draft. We know you get signed pretty quickly to a two-way, but what was draft night like? Did you expect to get drafted? Was it shocking? Just take us through the whole night for yourself.
Yeah, so draft night, I had draft night. It was 2 days. I had 2 day event back at home with my family. So the first day, it was really just celebrating the fact that I'm here. I'm
Hmm.
here. So I had probably a shot at 30 in that first round, but that was slim, whatever the case may be. But
Hmm.
I really had my eyes set on second round. I just knew I was going second round to whoever, whoever it was. Like in my mind, you just couldn't tell me there's 60 players within that draft that's better than me. You just can't tell me that. I don't believe it at all. But it is what it is. I had my family there. I'm glad I was physically with my family and everything. We agent still online talking to all the other front offices, and he's talking to me, talking to them, and I'm just kind of like enjoying my time with my family, but also ready. I'm ready. Phone on speaker, phone ready to pick up.
Right.
But unfortunately, it just didn't happen. We talked to some teams around the 42 mark, 45 mark, but my agent just made the decision like maybe those teams wasn't the best option for me. So we kind of like we kind of like start having our I don't really know the process I was really going through in terms of talking to them, but we kind of like start leaning towards teams that we can see myself being, like places like where I can see myself being.
Right.
I had pre-jobs work out here in Miami, so we always seen Miami as a place, and me being a heat culture guy,
Hmm.
so it was really a no-brainer. I made the decision while kind of like the 59th pick was going on or 58th pick was going on. We already had it in play that we're going to Miami. So the family, whole family was there, whole city was there, friends and all. And I had the stage set up, I had the mic, and I had the opportunity to make a choice on where I wanted to go, where I think I would be the best fit. And it just turned out to be the best decision. And for me to be able to vocally and freely choose where I want to go, and it all played out. It all played out. So me choosing Miami and all the emotions just rushed in on everybody, tears of joy from everybody, relief from everybody. It was just the best play out. I couldn't ask for nothing better. I kind of rather that. I'm blessed on how it played out. So chose Miami and fast forward, got the two way, did what I needed to do. Finally got a spot.
You know what's so unique about Miami is that there is a very well-known culture. Everybody knows about the undrafted story started by Udonis Haslam, and there's been countless success stories since. Obviously, you're looking to follow in those footsteps and those shoes there. And so, I actually want to ask about Haslam. I know he still has a role within the organization, within the franchise. How have you been able to pick his mind, and what's some of the biggest things he's taught you now as you have now a little bit over a year throughout your tenure in Miami?
Man, he taught me a lot. Me and him, we talk a lot. Um, and when he talks, it's credible. Everything is credible. So eyes be locked in, ears be open, mouth be shut. Listen, I listen to UD. We talk. I could chop it up with him as if he's my uncle, you
Mhm.
know, and he gonna hold me accountable. He demands things out of me and all of that. And I know it all comes from a genuine place because he was once in my shoes. If don't nobody else know where I'm at and and who I am right now is him. He do know. He do know. He did it before me. So if there's anybody I need to look forward to, look towards, I look towards him and ask him about anything, pick his brain about anything, and he's available whenever I need him.
As for Coach Spo, one of, if not the best coach in all of the NBA today and all the world, to be honest, right now, when you talk about learning from him, what's your guys' relationship like and what was it like playing underneath him?
Spo reminds me a lot of Tommy Lloyd in terms of how passionate they are about everything and how hands on they are. Spo and Tommy, they're basketball freaks. I would say, like you just see them working, you see them studying each and every day. and they study with intent. Everything they do is very intentional. And on my pre-draft workout, I remember coming in the morning, seeing Spo on. He was on the treadmill, and he was going at a good pace. When I tell you, we come down after the workout, he was still on that treadmill, going at a good pace. I'm like, man, if he working, everybody got to work. Like, so I came in and just seeing that, seeing how he just so like he's so alert with
Mhm.
everything. When he demands something on the court, he would show you and he would demand it to be done at the at the utmost pace with the utmost intent. And I love that's one thing I do love about Spo is just he's so intentional and he's so alert.
The last guy specifically I want to dive into is Pat Riley. Obviously, one of the greatest figures in basketball history. I don't know how much you get to talk with him, but what has it been like being around him, and what have those conversations been like if you have got to have many of those?
So I've had a few conversations with Coach, and today they use the word aura, somebody that has aura. He has like a Godfather aura to him, like you know who he is. If
Hmm.
you don't know basketball. And he has that, but for him to have that, he's just such a humble person and such a personable person to approach and everything. So I just go to him. It's always good vibes, talking to him. I once asked him something about like what are a few things I need to do to be able to stay in this league? Because he didn't see in everybody. He had the best of the best players in NBA history, and
Hmm.
actually physically coached them and seen them and been there with them. And then um, fast forward a couple of months later, he seen me working out or something. He said, "You asked me that one question, and truth be told, you got the answer to it. You're doing whatever you're doing, keep doing that. You got a chance to be an NBA player for a decade."
All right, I love that. So I want to go into year one for yourself. Obviously, it was kind of had to be a little bit chaotic. You're in and out of the NBA, back to the G League, back and forth. What was year one like in the NBA for yourself?
Year one, it was a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster, I would say, just in terms of our G League affiliate is literally all the way on the other coast. It's in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Right.
So having to be on the move, like you don't really have a set schedule. Being a two-way guy and being a guy that's up with the NBA team and down with the G League affiliate, it's just everything is impulsive, kind of like you gotta just live on your impulse. You gotta be ready to get up and go and perform each and every time. So that's why I said it was a roller coaster. So we had um just our stretches throughout the year where we was dealing with other things. I'm just witnessing everything kind of like and just like, man, it's a business. It's a business. So it was a learning year, a great learning year for me. Um, and I feel like I got very mature throughout this year one in terms of learning and seeing the politics and just how business work and the significance of everything, like knowing you get that one crack, you gotta go for it. You gotta take advantage.
Everything you gained from year one, this offseason so far, what is year two Keshad Johnson going to look like? What are the improvements, everything you've done? What can fans expect you to bring to the team in year two now?
Year two, just be me. Be the Keshad Johnson that you all see, be the Keshad Johnson that the Heat organization brought me in to be, which is somebody that's I would say humbly say Showtime and that's energetic, that's vibrational, I would say.
Mm. When you talk about modeling your game, I know you probably take bits and pieces from a lot of different guys, but who is one guy specifically that you look at and say, you know what, this is a guy that I see myself becoming more like, that 10-year career, as you talked about Pat Riley. Who's that guy you
Yeah.
kind of want to mold yourself into becoming like?
Mm. Man, that's a good question. And I've got that question a lot. And every time the answer is probably there's no one guy. It's
Mm.
just I want to be a winner. There's guys that win in the NBA. There's guys that win. I could go through long lists. Relevantly speaking, guys like Josh Hart right now, he does what he needs to do. You know, today, PJ Washington, somebody that
Yep.
just signed a contract today. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he's somebody that does what he needs to do. Um, all the other role player guys, you know, we got the PJ Tuckers throughout the years. We got the Trevor Ariza's, the Shane Battier's, the bigger guys like Andre Iguodala, Rudy Gays. We got Derrick Jones Jr. We got all types of
Mm-hmm.
places I could go on guys that just have their identity and their impact. Like you see these guys in the NBA, you know what they're there for. We all know what their job is to do. So I want to be somebody that knows who my job is and embody my job. Whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, I do my job. I do what I need to do.
I love that. I think so many guys, especially younger on, they want to become the star players. Very few guys want to
Yeah.
embrace the role. And we already talked about this, but you got look at San Diego State. You've already embraced that role. You said, "What am I going to need to go out there and win?" You've done it. But I feel like that's a mentality that so many guys that are young are lacking. So many guys, they end up messing up the opportunity for themselves because they want to be LeBron, they want to be all stars, and they're not really wanting to accept a role. Why have you been so apt and say, you know what? I know that I can make a role. I can make a great living, in fact, by playing a role. What's to always instill that mentality in yourself?
Um, I would say is I just know my identity on and off the court. I know my identity, like I know who I am in terms of being Keshad Johnson. I know I'm a player. I'm gonna go be selfless on that court. I'm gonna do whatever my coach need me to do without complaints. I've been through life where it was a lot of unfortunate things that happened and overcame all of that. Like I don't have no place to make an excuse. If I need to get a rebound, if coach tell me to get a rebound, I gotta do it.
Mm.
And I fall into the line of not complaining, not like knowing who I am in term and in the NBA and basketball in general, you gotta have some delusional factor to you. So we
Yeah.
all want to be that star player, but you also gotta have you gotta also be hard on yourself and be brutally honest to yourself. Like, who do you need to be to get paid? Who do you need to be to get time on that court? Whatever it is. And I'm somebody that's brutally honest to myself. Like I'm mature mentally. I know what I need to do. You don't have to you don't have to tell me who I need to be. I kind of like I'm aware and a lot of kids, a lot of like college players and people that's going into the NBA, young guys, we kind of like fall into that. Oh, like I gotta be more than I gotta be more to get the job done in a sense.
Mm.
So I'm I take pride in being one of those guys that don't think that way and yeah, move on.
I got a couple questions before I let you go, Keyshawn. And one of those is this. When you talk about this upcoming season, both for yourself but also the team, because I know as a team, a lot of people look at the team and say it's a little bit different than it's been before. Maybe they're not a complete contender, whatever it might be. You look at that. I know you're always someone who wants to prove people wrong. You've been there, done that before. What do you want, and how excited should fans be for what you're going to bring in year two? But also, what should people be expect from this team heading into this year?
Be excited, be and expect us to win. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. Um, I feel like last year we went through a lot and still made it. We
Mhm.
got a foot in the door. But this year, we know who we are. We don't have too much outside noise. We gotta just fall. If we need to fall under the radar to get there, we gonna do that. Like I don't feel like we get the respect that we need to around the league. So we're gonna make a lot of more noise this year. And what to expect out of me is for me to be me, and me to go out there and show, like I say, humbly saying, show who Showtime is. Take advantage of the opportunity that I'm given throughout the way and build the coaches' trust, teammates' trust, and the overall Heat culture trust, fans and all.
I love that. Well, Keshad, I've got one final question for you. It's the question I wrap up every interview with, and that's talking about your legacy. When the day does come, you step away from basketball someday down the future, what is it that you want to be remembered for what you've accomplished both on and off the court?
I want to be remembered as a role model on and off the court. You know, somebody that's accessible to the world. Like I want to be accessible. I want to be, you know, if a young basketball player were to hit me up on social media, I want to be somebody that's talking to them as if I'm a normal player. You know, on the court, somebody that did his job without complaining. You know, did his job like I said on his best days and worst days. Somebody that is positively vibrant. You see them vibing, you see them shining, you know, whatever that case may be. However, the listener sees that, I want to be that, you know.
I love that. Well, Keisha, I appreciate you taking time to come on in, man. It's been a blessing and honor having you on here, and I cannot wait to see what God's got in store for you, man.
Appreciate that.
Of course, you're always welcome on, man. God bless.
Yes, sir. God bless.